It can be really overwhelming when you've tried every probiotic on the market, every fad diet out there. You have spent probably thousands of dollars with functional treatment. You still don't feel like you're able to resolve those chronic gut issues that are very likely leading to other issues in your body. Maybe you know they are connected, maybe you don't. In this video, I'm going to explain what I believe is the missing link when it comes to healing your gut, and that is heavy metal toxicity. So it is something that is so often overlooked. I've seen it time and again where people just give up. They give up trying new treatment altogether, and they end up kind of resorting to the pharmaceuticals or the symptom management because they just can't find an option that works. It can be really complicated and nobody really seems to have a straightforward answer on this. So I'm going to go over the link between heavy metal toxicity and gut health and your related symptoms, how they both affect each other. I'm going to go over what things work to detox heavy metals, and I'm going to give you some practical starting points for understanding the detox process, especially as it relates to chelating heavy metals, because it can be kind of complicated and I know there's a lot of information out there on the internet, so I'm going to kind of break that down. Stay tuned in the end because I have an exciting opportunity to announce to you guys. I've got a group that I'm creating for something very special and I'm really excited to share it with you guys, but I will share more about that later. So this video is not going to be a video on how the gut can affect other issues in the body. So like the link between gut health and autoimmunity. I made a whole video on gut health and autoimmunity specifically, which I'll have linked in the description box below if you're interested. But I'm not going to be going through the science of gut health and its relation to other issues in the body. This video is really geared on heavy metals and heavy metal detox, and even though it definitely relates to the other issues going on in the body, this is kind of different, if that makes sense. And honestly, I think this could be the root cause of both in certain instances, so be sure to check out that video if you're interested. I'm going to start also with a little bit of a medical disclaimer. I am not a medical professional. None of this information is medical information and it shouldn't be taken as such. So if you have any questions, consult your healthcare practitioner. I do have a practitioner linked in the description box below if you're interested and you need some more support, but I am not that. I'm just here speaking from experience and some research that I've done. Okay, so what is a heavy metal? A heavy metal is essentially a dense metal or metalloid that typically is toxic even at low concentrations in the body. So if you think of like lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic, those are all heavy metals, and they can actually accumulate in the body and cause damage to tissues. So this is why we want to pay attention to it, because people aren't really talking about it. And these can be some of the most damaging things to different organs in your body, different tissue, which I'm going to explain a little bit later. And heavy metals are very common nowadays in our polluted environments. They're very common in our water sources. That's why we need really good quality water filters. They are very common in even our air, even our soils nowadays, because of just the pollution from a lot of different things. And your body's exposed to them. Your body's exposed to them anytime you eat food. It's exposed to them with certain cosmetic brands, certain household items, personal care items, cleaning products, processed foods, and even the things that they put into your body by so-called professional on potentially an annual basis. You guys know what I'm talking about, but I'm not allowed to mention that here. All of these things can contribute to toxicity in the body, like I've talked about here a lot on my channel, but specifically heavy metal toxicity when it comes to these metals that are, unsaid ingredients in the products that you're consuming and the products that you are putting on your body and using in your home, that sort of thing. So what's the link between heavy metals and pathogens? What's the relationship? Beyond just wreaking havoc on the digestive system because they wear away at the gut lining, basically pathogens act as the cleanup crew to the body. So not very many people know this when they go to parasite cleanse, but actually parasites have a function in the body. Parasites eat metals, contaminants, toxins in the body so that they don't end up in certain tissues and organs, causing way worse problems. So arguably, you will always see people with a high heavy metal load also have a high parasitic load. And that's just because if the parasites are feeding on the metals, essentially their food source, and it's going to make them grow. Parasites themselves cause a whole host of number of symptoms, but the root issue here is that there's lots of metals there for the parasites to be cleaning up. And so it's actually your body's really unique survival mechanism, and it's very smart of your body because, again, it's keeping these metals away from different tissues. It's like your body is the ground and the soil, and just like worms clean up the soil and the earth, that's what the worms are doing for you. I know that might sound gross, but that is essentially what pathogenic bacteria in the gut, overgrowth of pathogenic bacteria in the gut, are doing for your body, which is actually a good thing in a sense. But it is why we can't just go killing off parasites without addressing the heavy metal load. You will often feel worse if you go ahead and do that. And the reality is that they have a job. You cannot actually kill off parasites. You guys, they give birth in like the thousands, the hundreds of thousands. And so you really won't ever fully get rid of them. Kill some of them, but you're not going to be getting to the root of the problem until you actually go and remove the food source. So heavy metals would be the food source, and you want to go ahead and try to get those out of your body. So it is a two-part solution. You are going to replenish with beneficial microbes like probiotics, as I mentioned here a lot on my channel, but you also are going to want to address those heavy metals. You're going to want to do some form of heavy metal chelation or build your body towards that end safely, I might add. I do have a quick guide to gut health, which I will have linked in the description box below if you're interested in learning all of my best 10 tips when it comes to healing and sealing your damaged gut lining, which is really the root of a lot of chronic health symptoms. And again, these parasites, these heavy metals are a part of that. And so I go into that a little bit more in that guide if you want to go and grab that. So it'll be linked below. But again, this doesn't just happen in the gut. This actually happens in other tissues in the body. If there's heavy metals in certain tissues in the body, parasites will actually go ahead and clean up there. And this is kind of a gross concept to think of, but your body is made of microorganisms. So pathogens, parasites, yeast, they are attracted to these metals as a way of your body protecting itself. Sometimes it can do that to a not so great end, in that it can cause some more extreme health issues when you start to see pathogens accumulating in certain areas of the body along with those metals, and can start to cause other issues, which again is a topic that I will discuss somewhere else, not on this platform. So what is heavy metal chelation? It is essentially removing metals, detoxing them from the body. And a heavy metal chelator is technically anything that removes a heavy metal from the body. So it will bind to it and remove it. There's two different categories of heavy metal chelators. There are the safe and the unsafe heavy metal chelators. Just because a chelator can bind to something doesn't mean that it can actually safely remove it from the body. A lot of times these chelators can pick metals up, but they don't know how to effectively eliminate them from the body. So they will essentially sometimes just drop them somewhere else in the body, essentially causing some other symptom. You have to be very careful with this, because if you get a metal that's picked up in the arm and put down in the brain, you obviously will have some kind of symptom. It's not necessarily these crazy experiences, but you might just feel worse and your body didn't actually effectively remove the toxin. So there are a lot of different unsafe types of heavy metal chelation. If you are familiar with IV chelation, that would be a form of chelation that I don't recommend, and I believe can be very unsafe, but there's a bunch of other ones. Drop a comment below if you've experienced any negative repercussions from any type of unsafe heavy metal chelator, because I feel like these stories are so common, and I know we would all love to hear if certain things have caused really negative experiences. In this lump of unsafe heavy metal chelators, I will put anything that really targets killing parasites without first healing the digestive lining. When you go ahead and kill off a parasite before you've gotten rid of the food source and you've built up your body's immunity, resolved the issues in the gut lining, resolved the imbalance in the body, you put your body at risk of that parasite coughing up that toxin, coughing up that metal, and you essentially feeling worse. So anyway, this is really common. People love to do parasite cleanses. I don't recommend them for a lot of reasons, and I really think you got to kind of start with the basics. But that being said, I'm going to run through what are some examples of heavy metal chelators that I may or may not recommend, but these have actually been known to get rid of heavy metals in the body. So we'll start with something like silica. Silica is a substance that can get rid of aluminum in the body. Bamboo extract has silica. That would chelate aluminum. Cilantro, I know many people are probably familiar with that. The zeolite. So I have a link for a zeolite spray in the description box below. I love the zeolite. I think it's super powerful and effective, but also very gentle and safe. Activated charcoal is a chelator. Vitamin C can actually be considered a chelator. Anybody is familiar with the Andy Cutler protocol, that would be a heavy metal chelation protocol. Egg whites, believe it or not, are a form of heavy metal chelation. That's why in the GAPS diet, they recommend that you introduce just a drop or even like a speck of egg white in the beginning, because it can be so powerful and potent. Some people claim to feel like they have allergic reactions to egg whites is because oftentimes they're chelating heavy metals unknowingly. And the last thing I put on there was kind of just, you know, the thing that I rave about most often, which is coffee enemas. Coffee enemas are really great at getting heavy metals out of the body. They help to purge the liver and cleanse the liver, and they're going to be a great, I think, one of the safest ways to chelate heavy metals. Now, I also just want to mention this, that I think people miss a lot, that healthy gut bacteria, so if your gut lining is fully sealed and repaired, the lining of your digestive tract should contain this substance called alpha-lupeic acid, which is part of the anti-color protocol. And I'm not recommending going to take a ton of alpha-lupeic acid, because just don't do that. Alpha-lupeic acid is a substance that actually chelates heavy metals on its own. Your digestive lining should have alpha-lupeic acid as a part of the lining. Healthy gut lining should have that. Healthy gut bacteria in the gut lining will actually be a chelator as well, a natural chelator. Your body was designed to be able to get rid of metals on its own. The problem that we have here is that we're so overloaded with toxicity, and we have such a lack of beneficial microbes that our digestive tracts are not doing the process that they should have been able to do in the first place. So to know which ones are best for you and which ones I think would match your specific circumstance, you really should work with a practitioner. I do not recommend doing this on your own. Something that I would do with a practitioner. Every time I start something new like this, I will meet with a practitioner to start out with. But as you can see, some of these are basic foods that you could start introducing, basic detox things like coffee enemas you could actually start safely doing at home. And those, I think, are generally speaking the safer forms to start out with. I will say that this is actually not an exhaustive list. There's other heavy metal chelators that I know of and that I don't have listed here in this video for the purpose of not having this video taken down off of YouTube, because there is a lot of censorship around some of these products. Don't ask why. Health information can be so confusing on the internet, and it is so frustrating to try to find the right stuff. Trust me, I understand. If you download that quick guide to gut health, I'm actually in the process of updating it, and it will have some of those chelators that shall not be named on the internet, so that you can kind of go ahead and explore that with your practitioner. And if you are looking for some more one-on-one support for your symptoms, I'd be happy to meet with you. I will have my Calendly linked in the description box below. So how will the detox process work? Again, be with a practitioner. My list is below, but whatever substance you're using, you're going to want to go slow, slow, slow. They can be very potent, and you really want to build your body's tolerance as, you know, your symptoms show that you're able to. We really want to look at the long game. We're not trying to push our body's limits, because these metals are very damaging, and we want to make sure that we're getting them out safely and slowly. For example, when I started using the zeolite powder, I actually had a speck of it to start, and I passed a lot of parasites, you guys. It was disgusting, and I won't go into it, but one little speck was what kickstarted it all for me. You really don't need a lot to just get started, and I would really, really caution you and tell you to start small and slow. So you're going to want to start really small, build up your tolerance. You could even start with the substances on your skin, even things like all right, so I got a little friend here. But you are just going to want to start small, build up really slowly, put it on your skin first, especially something like egg white, to see how your body responds to it before you're actually consuming it. And if you made it to the end, that means you're really interested in the topic of this video, and I'm excited to share with you about an up-and-coming opportunity. I am creating a gut health focus group for those of you who are interested in removing the overwhelm and confusion associated with healing your gut and resolving your symptoms, and really get to peace and clarity. I'm going to be running this focus group for about 6 weeks, and if you are interested in it, it's going to start October 5th, every Saturday at 10 a.m. And really, I'm trying to keep it select and small so that I can cater to your specific circumstances and the issues that you're struggling with. My goal with this focus group is to really get an idea of your pain points and the things that you guys are needing, so that I can build out a course and a program in the future that helps to actually meet that need. So I'm going to be asking for feedback a lot. If this sounds like something that would be interesting to you and you could use the Kickstart for your own healing journey, check out the description box below. I explain how to register and sign up, and I would be happy to have you. And as always, if you got any value out of this video, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. My goal is to help people heal their gut and conquer their chronic symptoms naturally. So if that sounds like you, I'd be happy if you would join our community here on YouTube. Thanks for watching.